Today, I'll be talking about how renewable energy policy has been handled in Japan. Although increasing the use of renewable energy in the nation is largely supported by the general public, the government and business sectors of Japan seem a bit more polarized on the matter. The research question I decided to explore is why are Japanese businesses and elected officials more polarized when it comes to renewable energy policy than the general public? My first impression when beginning this project was that renewables as an energy was generally agreed on in Japan. However, when I started my research process, that assumption was quickly proven wrong. The thesis that I've developed so far is several factors, especially regarding profits and national security, contribute to a hesitance to transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy and a continuation of using nuclear energy. This thesis was developed through the examination of three dimensions and their views and actions they partake in regarding renewable energy. The Japanese public is generally positive when it comes to clean energy, and a majority believe that using renewable resources, such as solar power, should be utilized over fossil fuels. The support for renewables is stronger in Western Japan as a result of the Fukushima disaster. After the Fukushima disaster, the public lost the confidence they had regarding nuclear power. After the disaster occurred, many decided to move elsewhere, fearing the consequences of nuclear radiation on health. Additionally, a majority of citizens believe that Japan should stop using nuclear power as soon as possible, or at the latest 2030. The Japanese public has been putting pressure on the government and businesses for the past few years. They have not only protested the return of nuclear power, but have also demanded that the government work towards reducing greenhouse gas emissions at a more rapid pace. They have also criticized the government for its focus on decontamination instead of transitioning to cleaner resources. The business community is quite conflicted when it comes to adopting clean energy initiatives. While the renewable energy business sector has been able to expand, innovate, and attract new businesses to the sector, the Japanese Business Federation has been preventing the nation from committing to carbon dioxide reduction measures or changing fuel sources. Despite its unpopularity, the nuclear energy sector has grown. This is due to growing energy needs from energy demanding sectors such as AI and the government's plans to pursue Society 5.0. The business sector sees nuclear energy as a way to both mitigate concerns about energy security and reduce the amount of carbon dioxide being emitted. Not only has the Japanese Business Federation been shaping renewable energy policy, but Japanese businesses as a whole have mainly been prioritizing economic growth over environmental impacts. Investments have also been made into continuing the status quo of utilizing fossil fuels and into fueling the growth of the nuclear sector. The Japanese government is in a similar predicament to the business sector. Since Abe's second administration, Japan has embraced energy policy that prioritizes economic growth by lowering economic costs. Although fossil fuels have been slightly discouraged, the government has mainly encouraged the regrowth of nuclear energy. Despite this approval, the government has been conducting nuclear restarts ever since Abe, resulting in nuclear being the most utilized energy source that isn't a fossil fuel. They believe that utilizing nuclear would reduce Japan's reliance on energy imports, stabilize the nation's national security, and would offset greenhouse gas emissions. Instead of focusing on shifting energy sources, the Japanese government mainly focused on preventing incidents like the accident at Fukushima. For instance, they established a nuclear regulatory authority to inspect nuclear reactors under new safety regulations. Furthermore, Japan's basic energy plans have pursued generating as much nuclear energy as renewable energy. One of the policies created to encourage the use of renewable energy is the Act on Special Measures Concerning Procurement of Electricity from Renewable Energy. This act aims to encourage and develop renewable energy sources to facilitate the Japanese transition from fossil fuels through strategies that provide fixed tariffs or premiums on imported energy sources. Feed-in tariffs were meant to generate more interest and investments in renewables. Under this system, electric utilities purchase renewable energy in contracts with suppliers, which are set by the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry. This incentivization of investment has been broadly supported by the Japanese public. Japan relies heavily upon imported fossil fuels for energy. However, international events may occur any time that could result in a rapid cost change for non renewable energy. Therefore, it is more cost efficient for Japan to resort to more domestic based sources of energy. Furthermore, relying on renewable energy can also result in more stable energy costs for the nation. This same reasoning also displays that relying on imported non renewable energy poses a national security risk for Japan, as geopolitical factors can pose grave consequences for Japan's energy. Considering the political environment beyond Japan's borders, it would be wise to shift to more local sources of energy to prevent instability. Both fossil fuels and nuclear energy pose a threat to the health of Japanese citizens. When coal is combusted, it releases particulate matter into the air, which can result in severe health impacts like asthma or lung cancer. Furthermore, utilizing nuclear energy puts citizens at risk of nuclear radiation that can prove fatal in both the short and long term. The environmental impacts of relying on non renewable energy are several and severe. Fossil fuels can release large amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Large amounts of water are required to keep the energy generators cool. Furthermore, nuclear waste must be stored in very specific ways and takes hundreds of thousands of years to deteriorate. A strategy that Japan can take to encourage the utilization of renewable energy is by adopting and encouraging local initiatives. This has already been done on some level, with some cities and prefectures declaring that they will become zero carbon cities. Encouraging local initiatives like this can further pressure policymakers into working towards better energy alternatives. In order for Japan to reach its goal of reducing carbon emissions by 46% in 5 years and be carbon neutral in 25, the nation needs to embrace a new system for energy, not one that has historically embraced profits and put the health of ordinary Japanese citizens at risk. The LDP needs to listen to its constituents before the public returns to supporting the DPJ, or it will be too late to change anything.